about domestic abuse. Everybody's into it, and I'm like, why?
So that's going to be the
So
first thing
popular.
said as it went live. Something about that. It was like Carolyn saying something about domestic abuse is where we're starting, which is not what this live stream is about. Uh, in case anyone was curious. I'm just going to check that the sound's coming through like it's supposed to. As it went live, something about that. It was like Carolyn saying something. All right, so I think we're good. All right, that sounds fine to me.
I can play it on YouTube over here.
Do what?
I could always put it on my TV over here if you wanted to check.
I mean, you could. That'd be interesting to see. Okay. With that, though, I'll go ahead and jump in. If you're in Roll20, you should be able to see you guys have returned to Rushenshaw. You guys had traveled through the caves. I think we're on end of day 8 is what we had said. So you all had traveled through the caves for a series of days. You found a place where it surfaced, having been led there with the help of your myconid mushroom friends. Yep. And with that, you are entering this, walking up to the gates about kind of dinner time, or late afternoon, I think is what we said. You have successfully freed Ethelmora, or just Ethel, and upon coming back to the surface, you did you managed to all get everyone out, cleverly using your hovering carpet and some successful navigation rolls, I believe. As you came up the service, you realized you were very close to, and I'll put this on Roll20 actually, just so we can see the map again. You all ended up coming out, and we rolled for that, I believe, where you came out, and it happened to be right kind of where we wanted to go. So with that, you popped out basically right by Scornabel, which you all, dear goodness, was that like a year ago or 6 months ago? Was that Christmas time when you defeated the Rhinogar King and everything? That was feels like
it was a while ago.
It was a while in real life time. But yeah, so so I think I might have just said the wrong city name too. But you guys popped out on this side of the river and crossed it again using the hovering rug. As part of that, though, you guys were traveling to the edge of the river. And you did come across a meaningful in-world, in-game bit of lore where there were 3 what appeared to be stone hags. And I believe, and Ethelmora was sitting in one of their laps and all that fun stuff. So that led to some nice conversation, I guess. But yeah, so you all, Ethelmora, the troop, and whatnot are heading into Rushenshaad. And so yeah, on our continent of Agora, there was talk of the Masquera.
We were at the gates, if I remember.
Yeah,
right.
you were at the gates, and there was talk of the Masquera with Ethelmora and things like that. Whatever that is or was or whatnot. But that may have been a few days ago too, now that I think about it. But yeah, all right. So with that, as you enter in to Rushenshaad, one of the things we said you noticed that was different, there are less people manning the walls, so it seems like your piece that you established, I think it was almost a month in game ago, game time, that piece seems to have had some positive reactions to the environment. People are laughing, children are playing. There's like a quarter the amount of people up on the walls just generally guarding. And as you all enter in, there's not the same level of intensity from the guards, partially because some of them recognize you almost immediately. Most of them do. And you notice that the children are no longer wearing the armor that they used to wear, that was basically like little chopped up pieces of log that had been tied together. If you remember, it was basically plate mail made out of logs, wood pieces. And so they're no longer wearing those. Even so, that's nice to see kind of the under 10 demographic just kind of enjoying life a little more. So the whole place generally, like, there's just this, it doesn't take much to realize there's a tone shift in the city overall. As you all walk in, one thing that is going to stand out no matter what is there's actually a couple wagons kind of parked in just inside the gate that are brightly colored, almost like gypsy wagons. They've got or traveler wagons would probably be if we're going to make it appropriate for real world crossover, but whichever term, if you know the history. So these are brightly colored. Have a lot of trinkets kind of dangling from them, and you can see that they seem to be selling wares with kind of almost pop-ups from the side of the wagon that are in bright blues and reds and that sort of thing. What is noteworthy is that it appears to be basically like two families-ish of Dragonborn. And they seem to, and so I'll start there.
Okay, so just as kind of a perception thing, how does Ulm react to seeing these cards?
Such a great question.
Because it's like as soon as I see Dragonborn, I'm going to be looking at Ulm, going, okay.
Do you know that? So first, two things. One, this is like the fourth D&D game I've DM'd in the last week and a half that I didn't start with dice anywhere near me. But I knew I knew the story, right? But I keep forgetting dice, and like I don't even have my backpack right now. But I'll just use this anyway. So as far as Ulm's reaction, you're watching him. And he hasn't noticed yet. He seems, and just to kind of, that's another thing that picked up on, he seems to be distracted by the presence of Ethelmora in this place. Like, and so he hasn't even, it doesn't seem like he's even noticed there are Dragonborn. And he is in his kobold form, that he had the disguised self that he had kind of taken on when initially hiding out in Shadia Gravia in the college.
Okay.
After his life was threatened.
So he's no more... Wait, so he's not the kobold anymore?
He's in kobold form, yes.
Okay.
And he's managed... I think one thing you guys realized at the end of last game was he seems to be intentionally trying to stay that way anytime Ethelmora's around. And he's even hiding the transformation or the re-up on it too while she's around. But for that reason, if you go, you're like, Dragonborn. And you go and look at Ulm, and he hasn't even registered that they're there yet, because he seems like in that kind of slightly nervous stage and continuing to be very kind of hyper vigilant about Ethelmora.
Okay.
Shiny things? Choppies?
So what are the Dragonborn doing with their cards?
So you've got a couple different, so they're there, they seem to be kind of actively selling basic goods, and some of them are, or trinket-like goods, some of them are a slightly exotic items, so you see things that look like they're some sort of decoration made from sea creatures that are less common. So some of this almost looks, there's a few of these decorations, they're not quite as kind of sea-oriented as you saw in the merfolk capital in Archon City. But it has some of their decorations have that kind of under the sea feel, where it's like it's the head of a fish turned into a bowl or something like that. That sort of like the skull of a fish turned into a bowl with like a big bass kind of mouth, and it's been kind of something like that. So things.
Well, it doesn't sing.
Do what?
Well, it doesn't do a big bass singing thing.
No. So they have things like that. They also have the kind of, you would actually see some of this as more familiar with as far as like the kinds of decorations, the kinds of ornamentations or necklaces that could be made from forest plants, but the kinds that you would have to kind of forage kind of strategically for. Like someone had to have a little bit of knowledge on how to get this type of seed from that type of plant and that kind of thing. So, and yeah.
Okay.
There are, like I said, it appears to be two families. The most prominent, there seems to be there's a very elderly couple And then there is another one that is a middle-aged woman, and she seems to have a teenage dragonborn daughter with her. And they're all kind of dressed in a little bit of more Outlander clothes with some slight color and flair. And actually, you know what? I think I've got a picture of some of this to help. Maybe. Not all of it, just like a little bit of maybe the teenage girl here. Let's see if I can drop it into chat. But so, sorry, I got a little bit expository there.
That's fine. So, I can tell Carolyn is chomping at the bit to go over and look at sparkly things. So this is a good excuse to say, hey, let's go take a look at what they've got. And I kind of put my hand on Olm's shoulder and kind of direct their attention over to the Dragonborn. I just kind of look at him and go, see anything familiar?
Why would these strange garb for my people? What was your question? I'm sorry, I was distracted.
Let's go walk over and see what they've got.
Oh, okay.
And see if you recognize anything.
Oh, all right. Oh, okay. Okay, and so you are leading him over to the wares, and are you trying to do anything to like trigger his memory? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just at this point. I'm kind of shielding him, like standing between him and Ethelmora.
You can just call her Ethel.
And just trying to see if it'll like calm him down a little bit, so he's not quite so hyper vigilant.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, these are certainly interesting wares. If I'm looking, these are the. We didn't see anything like this in Shadia Gravia much, did we?
Not really.
A lot of that was more filigreed, and this is. What's the word? There's a little more. I can't remember the word. Cultural? No. Homey, maybe. But I don't know why. You know, I've been doing so well remembering lately that these things feel familiar, but I haven't come up against something that had this familiar, unfamiliar in quite some time, but there's something here. I'm gonna let him.
Okay. You don't have to figure it out right now. Do you want to talk to these Dragonborn?
Well, it has been a while since I've spoken with anyone like my people, though they seem different. My people don't usually dress this way. We tend not to wear animal skins and furs, and they seem to like it. But sure, yeah. I mean, it's a very nice aesthetic, I think.
I think so too.
Sierra. I haven't spoken with you in a while. It's been a bit it's been a bit hectic, hasn't it?
Yes.
Well, would you like to come possibly shopping with us and speak with these creatures?
Oh yeah, I love their apparel.
Yeah, it has a certain survival chic to it, if you will. That's something I heard some of the newer students at the college say. It's, language is such a funny thing, but it was quite the verbal process. Survival chic. It just seemed to roll off the gullet. He's a dragonborn in kobold form. It sort of makes sense. Don't judge me with your eyes, Tonya. So yeah, that was out of character in case anyone was wondering. But yeah, so he'll walk up. Who's kind of leading the charge, or are you hoping he will?
Hoping he will.
Okay. Do you do anything to encourage him to?
Go on. I just kind of give him a little shove because my hand's already on his shoulder. I just kind of go whoosh.
Okay, make a persuasion check with advantage, just to see. Yeah, don't judge me. Gullet, it makes sense.
That's the only reason I made a face, because I'm like, normally words don't roll off that part of the anatomy.
What's a glottal stop? What do you mean?
They roll out of, not over.
Glottal stop. Right on the gullet. And if you... Okay. I mean, I could just picture the lizard with, like, the half-eaten bug. Or whatever.
I would like to pull into the laws of inertia. If it is a glottal stop, that means it is stopping and therefore not rolling.
But, all right, fine. All right, fine. All right, what are we doing? Persuasion of 5. He seems a little reticent.
I'll go with you. It'll be fine.
Will you? I don't know what to say. I don't know that. I don't.
You don't have to say anything. Just look at their wares and listen to them. Maybe it'll help to, hear conversation closer to home.
Okay, I'm going to have him do just a... Hold on, let me open his character sheet. That's probably wiser. Doop. Probably should, yeah. He hasn't gotten to...
I love that the captioning is picking up your mumbling as well.
Okay, cool. Let me just put that in.
Apparently it does not like scatting.
Okay, moving on. Okay, I'm going to have him do just a raw charisma check, which he has no thing in there. Okay, just to check. What did he get? Okay. So he's going to... Hey, all right. So he's like, well, all right. Oh. So, these are wonderful fish saucers that you have here. He initially says, yeah. These ones we put together real good. If you like some, we will certainly do some trading for you. But I hope you like some. What's your favorite pot? Says the little teenage girl, the dragonborn teenage girl here. What is this face?
Sorry, I was placing the different...
Hey, look, this is a made-up world, and I am not trying to be consistent.
I'm not laughing at it. I liked it.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're trying to figure out how, like, what the linguistic profile feels? It's kind of like half Southern, half Creole, a little bit.
I was hearing the Creole.
Yeah.
But it was also mixed with Southern, the southwestern Boston accent.
Yeah, a little bit. And I think there's a reason it's coming out that way too. So yeah, that makes sense. I'll take it.
Also, it could be partially a district in New Orleans where there's a lot of Irish immigrants that would fit into.
We'll see what
Sorry, my brain went off on a variety kick because
this is what happens when you have highly educated linguists in the room.
Anyway, wares. What you got? Wares. You've got things.
Oh yeah.
Fish heads. Fish heads. Really fully fish heads.
So, well, I don't want to have a dialogue with myself, for the record. Yeah. Well, if you certainly like it, we can sell it to you if you want to make an offer. He looks at...
Shara, are you interested in any of these wares? These sparkly wares?
I was hoping to see if there's any instruments. Fish castanets, perhaps?
Let me take a look. We might have something. Let me go ask my grandmammy. and we'll see. One moment.
Yeah, instruments.
So this like she's probably, it's hard to say with Dragonborn age, but this younger kid, or this like teenage 15, 16 maybe, probably about 4.5. No, she's probably 5.5 foot tall at this point. But she kind of wanders over to one of the older Dragonborn and asks, and they will look over toward you and start hobbling over. And the older, an elderly Dragonborn is kind of indicated by kind of a dullness of scales a little bit, where instead of like gray hair, they get this kind of patina on their scales. And these are all, I don't think I had mentioned, these are all green Dragonborn, if I'm remembering correctly. That should be the correct one that I wanted. And so they have green would be, so they almost have like this almost like a bronzing, like a reverse of what you would get. So a green patina on what metal? Like bronze and copper.
Copper.
So they kind of have a copper and bronze patining to show that they are with a duller color to show that they're aged. And there are a few wrinkles and that sort of thing. Drier skin. Definitely weathered, this lady. So this here's my grandmammy, and she says we might have something we made from. What did you say? Well, now we was on the coast and found some mighty fine shells that were rather large. I can go get them for you. They are set up in a percussive style of our kind of family. If you like, I can show you. See how you like it.
Yes, please.
All right. Give me just a moment. It takes a moment to unpack those, but glad to have you and welcome. Okay, and so she's got kind of that hunched over look to her as she, kind of granny style, as she kind of works her way around. Vibrant colors, long skirt that stops at like mid calf, but is very flowing and billowy. If you think of Hunchback of Notre Dame, the kind style of garb that who's the female? I haven't seen that whole movie, but who's the female lead in that? I can't remember.
Esmeralda?
Yes, thank you. Sorry, I should have known that since I have a sister-in-law named that. But I've only seen like 5 minutes of it. But it kind of her style of like billowing skirt and pant kind of blend. So she wanders around. So while she's wandering around, the teenage girl will be, well, where's you from? You traveling? You just getting into town? We've been in town about a week. We came up from down south, Iskadeen we were at, and what's that? Oh, that place. We're really originally from that little coastal village near like Albatree. I grew up over there.
Can I have a Chris Pine moment and like pull out my my mermaid boot and be like, let me tell you a tale.
Yes.
Yes, you can. Go for it.
So I'm going to tell her a tale. It's of the deep dark nights inside the mushroom cave. It was like kind of like Daryl goes down to Georgia style.
Okay.
Except I need Brian to like actually get some lyrics from me. And it tells the basic story of being stuck underneath the caves and the little mushroom men and how we escaped with ESP and our new friends. Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
Exactly.
And you're playing it on.
Okay. My mermaid lute.
Very cool. I dig it.
So where's Dormand and our guard? Are they just kind of following us as we go kind of take a look at what's there?
Yeah, and they're more familiar with this area. So like Ethelmora is kind of hanging back and just kind of taking it all in. You can see that Anton seems to be staying nearby, with kind of putting himself between Shara and Ethel a little bit, but most of the guard are they're nearby. Some of them are greeting people that they remember from the last visit and that sort of thing too. So they seem to. Some of them have had kind of side conversations and are wandering about a bit. I think and Terry she will be looking at some of the Dragonborn wares as well.
Okay. Do the Dragonborn pay attention to any of the interactions that are happening with our guard and with Dormand and with Ethelmora? Are they kind of thinking, like, looking at us as like, because I'm thinking like when we have people who stand out, they want to stand out so that they can watch other people. Are they paying attention to us as much as I'm paying attention to them?
As you look around, make an insight check. Let's do that. Okay. Yeah. So as you kind of taking a moment, and while Carolyn's playing her song, you're using this moment to kind of just take in the scope. You're recognizing where your team's at, what they're doing, that kind of thing, and then. As you do, you'll see that the kind of middle-aged woman, Dragonborn woman, is in the middle of. She's basically making some sort of fry bread type patisserie. And so she's in the middle of working dough, and you can see her. That she's got a very small little cook stove. It almost seems like she's laying the dough over the top of it to cook it, to create almost. And so every now and then she'll pull that, like she'll cook and then flip over, and it creates this almost like this bread bowl that stays structured because it's crisped on one side. But yeah, so she's keeping an eye out, but it seems like every now and then she'll glance over, and she seems to smirk at the music and the tale, and she, just kind of generally aware of who's near, since her daughter's talking. What seems to be her daughter's talking to you. With the 13, you'd kind of get that motherly feel, especially with the previous comment. And then there is a couple more. Not like middle-aged, but like mid-20s age male Dragonborn that are hang out with what would probably be assumed like the grandpappy, and they're over on the other side of the furthest wagon from you guys.
Okay.
So yeah, and they're not clocking you all at the same level. Like, you're being very aware of this interaction in comparison. They're just kind of doing their thing. Like, they seem to be very kind of industrious oriented.
Okay.
Did I answer the question?
So it's just kind of they're worrying about selling stuff, not so much who they're selling to.
Yeah, they don't seem to be like hyper vigilant, danger oriented or anything like that. They're just kind of doing their thing, and they are armed, but not any more than kind of the standard person would be,
Okay. So I kind of let my guard down a little bit and just kind of look at what they've got. It would be nice to maybe have presents to give to the people who helped us. So, and then I think about, okay, so the present that of people we helped them more than they helped us. Wait a minute, never mind. I'm keeping my money. And I'm just having like this little conversation in my head as I pick up little things here and there. And then I kind of turn to Ulm and I'm like, would you feel more comfortable if we stepped away to talk to the leaders here and see if our friends have been through? I'm bored by the gypsies.
Wow, harsh. Well, if that's what you'd like, I can. I'm happy to do that. There's we can do that. There is something here that I can't place though. Just I'll tell you so that you can think about it. You guys know me in some ways better than I've known myself a little bit. there's something here, and it's just not my maybe one of those. I'll try journaling tonight. That's been helping with the memories.
Okay.
But yeah, we can. I might.
Is it about the objects, the people?
There's the people seem like this isn't what I remember of my of the Ritz spires. These don't feel like my people, but they feel very familiar, and I don't know why.
All right, well, maybe let's do this. Let's go talk. You and I will go talk to the leaders, and let's have everybody kind of stick around and just see what happens. And then what can happen is when they're done, we'll come back, just the two of us, and you can be yourself, so to speak, while we visit them. They might be more open to you and talk to you in a way that helps break down some barriers in your head.
Do you think that's safe?
Well, if we have the things you fear here now, they won't likely be here later.
Okay. Oh, all right. All right. I trust your judgment. Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to turn to Shara and to Sierra. Hey guys, why don't you go shopping? Go have some fun, relax, everybody. And then I'll turn to Terry's. Would you keep an eye on Ethelmora? Just make sure if she needs anything or wants to walk around that she has someone to kind of help support her.
Oh dear,
the two of us are going to go talk to our friends in the garrison and see if we can get some information. We'll be right back.
I'm just people watching, darling. It's really quite. It is so enlivening. You wouldn't believe. I haven't seen this many creatures in one place in too long. It's inspiring, the amount of life in this place. Who did you just tell to kind of keep an eye on her, did you say?
And Terry's.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. That's not her voice. I can't remember in Terry's voice.
Is the kindest little one of the bunch, so I figured he might keep her entertained.
Yes, ma'am. And so yeah. I can't remember. I have to go look at my notes on Terry now. Clavel's been the one I think that Shara has spent the most time with, right? Anyways, that's different. But okay.
Anton.
Clavel and Anton.
And Anton, yes. Clavel got some girl talk, I think, back in Shoddy Agravius, just before you guys nearly died. You know. Okay, so you guys are gonna leave the party here and then kind of wander off. Are you taking any of the guards with you?
Well, then a nice granny was going to show me some cool music.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
This gives you a chance to kind of practice with whatever it is, and then we'll be right back.
Okay, so Tonya and Olm are gonna. So Tonya's character, Jinxaris and Olm are gonna wander about. So is that what we're doing?
Yeah. So I just kind of want to, Shara, you should learn as much as you can about the music from the Dragonborn. Wink, wink.
Good point. I shall ask the granny to teach me some of the traditional songs of her people.
Oh yes,
her people.
She's.
And I kind of pull Olm away as I'm going.
She's real good. She's real good at playing them drums. Yeah. The little teenage Dragonborn girl says. So
Does Shara seem confused by the fact that I'm wanting her to find out more about music?
Oh, I'm not confused because you're not asking me to learn anything more about a bagpipe.
That's true. Yeah, I think as much as Carolyn feels like her character would understand, I won't make you make an insight check in this instance. Yeah.
Well, the wink kind of.
Yeah, you guys have been traveling together for a while now.
Yeah.
Fairly good. All right, so as Jinxaris and Olm are traveling, we're going to Carolyn. The grandmammy comes back. Well, now, dear, I hope you enjoy. But this is thanks, Tonya. I hope you enjoy this. This is built in the style of my family design, we tend to work off 5 different size shells. It began. There's a fun story to it. Actually, I can tell you a little while I show you. And so, even though she's a little bit, even though it seems like you wouldn't expect her to have the virility because of how she's walking, when she gets in front of the drum, it's all muscle memory. And what you start hearing is this. It's not quite Jamaican feeling, but there's definitely like that kind of feel steel drum wise, but on these shells. And it's not under the sea. We've done that, but that's not what we have here. There's a little blend of tribal Jamaican going on, however that feels to you. But you see, and she's doing it with her hands for the most part, tapping the shells. They're set up almost like you've got these, like the clamshell style, like with and different colors. Like there's 5 different colors and 5 different sizes. So the biggest one is almost a full foot across. And then it goes smaller, and so she's like boom, 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 and you hear her going, and she starts singing. Back in our something along the lines of like back in our family time in the cave, and I'm not gonna keep going. Traditions for generations were made, and she's like got this drum underneath. We grew up a lot in a real fast time. Till one was lost and the other began to cry. And there's this, it kind of starts getting into more of a sultry song, and I'm not going to give you any more lyrics. That's all you get from me in this moment. But yeah, so suffice to say, yes, that's not a bad one as far as reference goes. The drum she just posted, it's cool. But like, think 5 shells. So so she goes in and starts basically telling, you get this family history. And so she talks about how they've wandered, how new ones were born, and then the final reprieve comes back to there was one who was lost and one who cried.
We got thunder and the sky is like blue.
Interesting.
What?
Leola just ran in and said there was thunder, but it's like bright sun outside. So interesting.
Yeah, same.
Come on.
Lots of wind over here. Not that you can see through the brightness.
Thanks for sharing.
Kitty?
Bye.
That's super cool. So yeah, and so now it's going through Yolanda's.
Sorry.
No, it's
all
fun.
good.
It's part of the fun. I was just explaining it.
I know.
So yeah,
probably more that way.
So, and when she finishes, she sighs. And there's actually a moment where it doesn't take insight much to see that she actually has a bit of tears, a little bit, as she finishes and smiles. And so you see, it's this here is built in the style of our family, and we began it, designing it this way. It was kind of a unique thing for us, and it started out trying to tell our story together. Every night we would get together at the campfire, no matter where we was traveling, and we just, it just became a tradition to tell a little bit more of our story and to remember.
Granny, tell me more. What do you mean one person was lost and one person was crying?
Oh, well, when me and Grandpappy, we had to, it was a lot, are you sure you got times for this? But it's a long story.
Of course we do. For a bit of lore that I've never heard before.
Well, all right. Come at least sit down a little bit. Like, I don't want, you don't have to stand there in your horsey glory, you know what I mean? I
am pretty big.
And,
nestle down.
It'd be good for me to sit down and a spell too. And so she pulls over a little crate to sit on for herself next to the drums. Well now, so when me and Grandpappy had to get away quick from where we was from, and that was when we was much younger, and so we brought the kids. We had a daughter who's over there, and you met my grand Minnie, and her mother's my daughter, and so the lady working on the bread will kind of wave, and so she's the one who cried, and the one was lost was her brother, and so we missed him something fierce, and but we didn't know what had happened to him. One day he was there. We happened to be traveling through one of the bigger cities at one point, and something happened. He disappeared, and his sister she cried for weeks, and so that became part of our story. We didn't want to forget him.
This sounds familiar. What was his name?
Oh, we call him Little Eddie.
Little Eddie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, shouldn't have left. Why did he leave?
Who's Ohm? Or are you thinking
My friends
that?
we met along the way. Yeah, I was like, why did they wander away when I finally hear an interesting story about a missing dragonborn?
Well, you know, Dragonborns, these parts are pretty unusual, and that was kind of on purpose. So yeah, we lived in the cave with little Eddie and his sister Emil, and her full name's Amelia. Mother, she's very refined, but we might call her Amy too, and she kind of gives a little mom like snicker. But yeah, so you know, we had to stay safe. Where we's from's not real safe, and so not for depending on whose you is and whatnot. But
Granny, hold on for 1 second. I have to go get my friends. I need to hear your story.
oh, I don't know if I could tell it again, sweetie. I'm actually about ready to go lay down for a nap, if you don't mind. That drumming took something out of me, but it was a joy to share. And she'll kind of wipe that last
thanks
tear
so
a little
much.
bit.
You're the best. That's all.
It's been wonderful speaking with you, though. I hope you have a wonderful time in this fine place.
Nice to meet you, Granny.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so about that
Cha-ching.
time, you all make it into the town hall that you're aware of, that you know the leadership of the town usually hangs out in. You'll see that guard who was a bit bumbling last time, that had to be corrected, and of course I cannot find. But yeah. So you make it in there, and were you wanting to? There was last time you were here. The leadership was, you know, kind of the druid. I believe druid half elf. There was the dwarven kind of mayor, and then there was the other one I remember is the guy who led you up to, who's more of a stealthy rangery rogue kind of guy, who has a little bit of a Clint Eastwood feel to him. So, but. So who are you going to try and talk to?
Who was he was like the captain person, the like military leader.
Oh, yeah, him too. So yes, if you wanted to talk to, he preferred to be called
I felt more comfortable with him for some reason rather than the druid, which seems really counterintuitive. The druid really made me feel uncomfortable last time.
Right.
I didn't trust her. I didn't like her.
So that's actually, yeah. So that's the one that goes by, he likes to be called the, just Sarge, I believe. And, everybody else actually calls him the Sergeant General, but he just prefers being called Sarge. Now he was a burly human, I think, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
So yeah. So if you're all looking for him, in this case, actually, when you walk in, you'd see the normal guard who's like, I'm so sorry for the last time you guys was here. I'm real sorry. It's so good to see you back. Are you here? Are you here to visit the council and whatnot?
We just came to see Sarge. We had some questions.
Oh.
And don't worry about last time, as long as we know where we stand at this point.
Yeah. I'm here to help. Here to help. Definitely. Just 100%. I'm on board. Just here to help. I swear I wasn't. I just didn't do a good. Okay. Anyways, so Sarge is down the hall. He was starting to look at talking with some of the other locals to say like, what's the next steps now. So yeah, they just finishing up a meeting, I think.
Well, I will go wait outside and see if it's a good time.
Yeah. And so you travel down the hall, and you can hear kind of voices talking, and they're seem to be normal planning, nothing too crazy, just talking through. You hear kind of the rumbling of his deep, raspy voice as you enter close. The door's open. It's not like anything secret. So as you kind of get to the door with Olm, you can kind of either walk in or wait and listen or.
The door's open. I just kind of knock on the door a little bit and ask if is this a good time? We're just stopping by for a quick hello.
Well, now that voice sounds strangely familiar. Hi, friend.
Hi there.
So I think
it feels like it's been ages, but I know it hasn't really.
Well,
but just wanted to check in and see if half of us are here, the other half are not.
Well, a month on the Borderlands is certainly time. How you all been?
Okay.
You're back so soon. Did you make it up to the keep?
No, we have not. We went back to Saudi Arabia to take care of some business, and then some business happened to us, and so we've been delayed, but we're on our way back to meet the other part of our party. Have they been through here yet?
You're the first I've seen in a month. I haven't seen any I haven't seen any of your group, though. I'm not surprised that business. You're the kind of group that business just kind of happens to, right?
It really seems that way, doesn't it?
Yeah. Whether you like it or not. And we're thankful for that because you handled it well here. Thank you.
I just want to not be close to death at certain points. That would be nice.
Well, living is close to death if you're going to do it right. Sometimes you just can't fight it. Sometimes if you lean into it, that's the best move. Do you know how many fights I won because I was willing to get stabbed just right?
I don't know if that's a good thing, my friends. Anyway.
Well, I'm just saying the only way I made it where I am and am still alive is because you got to know when to take that. You got to know when to take the hit. Gives you a little more leverage sometimes.
Fair enough.
But then again, I'm a crusty old war veteran. So what do you want from me?
Well, it seems like the fort's a little bit more relaxed than it was before. Looks like you've even got some traveling merchants.
Yeah, it's strange. I remember hearing of people like them traveling when I was a kid, but or maybe a young man, but it's good to have new people in and just to hear children play. It's different,
It is. All right then. So I mostly just wanted to kind of check on whether or not you'd seen those three come through. If you haven't, hopefully they're on their way in a different direction. All right.
Were you all supposed to? Were you supposed to meet with them here?
Well, not here, but I figured if they were on their way to where we're supposed to meet, they might have come through this way.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, if I see him, what do you want me to tell him to do?
That if we've already left, then definitely just say we're headed on to the fortress.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I can do that. And if you guys, if you guys want, you're welcome to come stay for dinner. I don't know that when you were here last, you got to come in. We just weren't. We were all hands on deck. That's a fishing term. That's weird. We were all swords on wall, if you know what I mean. And so if you guys wanted to come and stay, we've got room. I bet my little lady'd be happy to get to know you.
You know what? A good rest and a resupply is probably in order for our group. We are a pretty large entourage at this point, and we have one particular member of our entourage who may or may not be an eldritch god. some things have happened, so just gotta be aware about that.
Roll a D100.
Me, a D100?
Yeah, roll a D100. Why not?
Hits.
Okay. That's you realize that's a strange thing to drop into a conversation, right?
Yes, but at the same time, you're in charge of keeping people safe around here. I figure it should be mentioned at some point in some way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you could.
You don't want to know. Just know that right now, she seems to like us pretty okay. But she's a little old and probably hasn't had a good meal in a while.
You know, we.
And when I say she's a little old, is she doesn't remember the Dragonborn existing.
Well.
Yeah. Okay. So,
well,
just so you know.
hold on. Okay. So. So you've got an ancient creature of some kind, is what you're saying. And you thought it'd be fun to just bring her to the border town that nearly got destroyed a month ago.
You know, it's one of those moments where I didn't really feel like there was any other choice, and to preserve the structural integrity of my whole being and everybody else's by not just kind of having a nice road trip with the possibly God figure.
Well, you know, sometimes you just gotta make meatloaf out of mutton. You know what I mean?
I hope it's a nice meatloaf. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Well, names have power. What's her name? What's this person's name? Sorry, that's me slipping.
It is Ethelmora, right? Am I not screwing that up? Ethelmora. And she knew my god by an older name.
What name?
Kelrasar is the older name of my god, which is Maliki.
When you say those two names together, he just takes a moment, looks to the side, leans down and says, "Those are names from fairy tales."
What do you mean, fairy tales?
I mean, either she's spinning a yarn for you, or once again, you're not wrong. You stumbled into something. Because those stories, we've got stories of sisters, and everybody hears about them.
I would love to hear those over dinner.
Well, I don't know if I can tell them if you're saying one of them's there, but I can tell you that they're the kind that remind you to stay inside the fence posts when you're a kid. Or if you're walking in the woods, go in a team. And even the nice ones in the stories like to have fun with people and sometimes toy with them, test them, check their character. So hopefully you found one of those.
Considering that we heard her sister's voice, Selene, by the way, mocking her when we freed her from her cave dungeon, I'm gonna go with the latter. Well, at least that we found our way into something that's not a fairy tale, but it's what the fairy tales are based off of, and this one is just kind of waiting to see what we do right now.
Sure.
And her sister, she meant something nice, but is probably just a jerk.
I'll tell you, the stories I know talk of at least 5 sisters. That's what I got for you. But,
yay?
yeah, so, alright, well, cool. Good. glad
As
you're
an
in.
out-of-game question,
Hey,
was
um,
did she think Kalrashar was one of her sisters, or that Kalrashar was someone she knew? I'm trying to remember.
She make a history check for your character.
Selene was definitely a sister, but nope, I can't remember. I was too scared.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk of sisters and powerful beings and the creation of other creatures, but now that it's been 4.5 days ish, going on 5, I think, if I did the math right, 3.5, 4 days. It got a little hazy. You've been talking and chatting with her a little bit, but she's been fairly quiet, just kind of taking in being around other creatures over the last few days. So not talking as much as she did in the cave, though every now and then sparking up a conversation that'll last 30 or 40 minutes about kind of mundane, inane things with different people in the group, and you especially.
So,
yeah.
I'm just trying to remember. Okay, so if the five in my head, as I'm thinking, we've got the 3 statues. We've got Ethelmora, and then we've got Selene. So that makes me feel like my goddess Maliki is not necessarily one of the sisters. If there's 5 of them, if those 3 statues are part of the 5 sisters. So, trying to figure it out. Just trying to put it together. Trying to piece together what the heck we've gotten ourselves into.
Yeah. Olm will peek around the door and go, well, she certainly is someone who makes me uncomfortable. Well, good. And hello. It's nice to meet you. Oh, yeah. I'm
come on in and we'll shut the door.
I go by Olm.
Was Olm with us when we were at the fortress, or did he stay in Shadia Gravia?
Stayed in Shadia Gravia for that one.
Okay. Olm, come on in and we'll shut the door.
Walks in.
I feel like Sarge should know who you are. Are you comfortable dropping the glamour?
I'll make a persuasion check with advantage.
You can trust the Sarge.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. So, and the form of the kobold disappears, and the form of Olm, the green dragonborn, reappears, and he's just for reminders in the his normal form is he's about a 4 foot. He's like 4.5 feet. He's short for a dragonborn, and he's a lot rounder. The original concept for him was kind of a mini Jabba the Hutt style character, and so when he was in amnesia mode, he had that whole like shaking his head thing. But in this moment, he actually is wearing fairly fine clothes. He seems to have gotten a little fitter in Shadia Gravia, and whether that was clean living or whatever it was, he's lost some weight. But he's still a good sized dragonborn. I'm Olm. My formal name is Ediston, and I'm pleased to meet your acquaintance, sir. Well, it's nice.
It's something of what
Lady
brought
Margot's.
all of us together to begin with. So we're trying to figure out, number one, who he is, where he's from, but also he's a bit of a mystery and a really knowledgeable fellow.
I do remember studying magic at the Rit Spires, and I remember my time there, and some of the events leading up to, but not quite the actual how I got to some random beach in the south part of the continent. So I'm still piecing that together. Oh.
All right. So part of the reason that we wanted to come here is to give our group a little time to get to know the Dragonborn merchants that are down below, but also give us an excuse to kind of take Ulm after they've left and see if he's familiar with them or if they recognize him.
Well, I think that's a good, fine idea. And it's, you're welcome to, enjoy the normal parts of the city and feel free to buy their wares. And yeah, you're still welcome for dinner. I'm not going to tell you not to bring a potentially powerful being from my nightmares, but thank you. I guess it'll just make for some good tabletop.
Think of the stories that you'll create from it.
Yes, I'm
Not
sure.
Not just tell.
I'm sure this will make my wife feel so happy.
I wouldn't necessarily mention it to your wife. Just, she's an older lady who needs a good meal.
I'm gonna ignore that one. Ediston, it was nice. It was nice meeting you, and I do hope you enjoy your stay in Resurfaced, and I guess we'll see each other for dinner potentially. So let me know if you guys need anything. For now, we're just starting to really think, what does life look like, and what do we need to do for these next steps? We've only just kind of got into full recovery mode, realizing that yes, this peace does seem to be lasting, and the Rhinogar King does seem to be holding up his end of the bargain. So I'm gonna go talk with the rest of the members of the council here.
Yeah, and please pass on the information to the other members about whether or not they see any of our party come through.
Well, when you're ready for dinner, just head to the northeast corner of town, and you'll be fine.
Fair enough. We will see you later for dinner, sir.
Okay.
All right. Hopefully this has given Shara and Sierra enough time to wrangle everybody away from the Dragonborn merchants.
So Shara. Yeah. And Sierra, you were, if she's still there. So were you? So back with the Dragonborn merchants, was there anything that you'd be trying to do or ask about, or because this is actually your first time, I realize, in Resurfaced, so you're seeing a lot of, for Sierra, you'd see a lot of the people greeting the whole party like they know them very well, and with lots of smiles and claps on the back and thank yous from little children, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes. So, I don't know if Sierra would just be taking that in.
Yes, I'm I'm
reserved.
Reserved.
Yeah.
Reserved is a positive way to say that.
Yeah.
But I liked the what was it, survival chic clothing, so I'm just busying myself looking at that.
Okay. As you look that and I posted those pictures. Yeah. The young Dragonborn teenage girl will come up to you while everybody else is kind of doing their thing. Well, you got a good look for these sorts of places, right? I see you wearing a similar style. Do you like the what do you use for what's your favorite type of clothes here?
What's it called that she's wearing that's kind of like it's kind of like a hood, but it's not attached to anything. What's that called?
She would call it.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I think that like where it's not attached and it's just kind of the shoulder fluff hoodie style.
Yeah.
Well, Grandma.
Cowl.
What?
It's a cowl.
Cowl. Yeah. Grandma calls it a cowl, or if I wear it down like this, she calls it a cravat, though I've heard people call it other things too.
Yeah, I like those.
Yeah. Well, Well, I've got one made of squirrel for if you're interested. This is intentionally a modeled, all kinds accent right now. There's just a whole lot of blend going on here. Yeah, but so what brings you all around these parts?
Shara?
No, she's having a one-on-one with Sierra. Shara's over.
I don't remember.
Make a history check for your character.
Gosh. Okay. Oh. Sorry, I don't remember how to do that. Okay. Dice. D20?
Yeah, D20 and then add your history bonus.
Oh, I don't know where that is.
So if you're in your character sheet, doop. So 11, and then it would be in your character sheet to see the bonus. You could also, let me see if we've got it there.
I don't know where that is.
I know, I'm trying to pull it up real quick. So your history bonus is a 1, so you got a 12. So your basic memory is like, oh, well, they were helping, they were two things. You were going up to some fortress keep place in the mountains, and it happened to be near you, and they were also trying to help near where you're from. They were also trying to help you figure out a mystery of your mountains, basically.
Oh, so releasing that thing from the cave helped with that?
Sierra thinks in the back of her mind from time to time. Yeah.
Wait, what?
I said, yeah, that's what I'm like. That's what Sierra would think in the back of her mind from time to time. So how does this help? Right.
Yeah, like my last happy memory was the mushroom people, and I regret helping unleash that thing. So yes, I don't remember what we were doing. Well, supposedly I do. Tell me what I remember.
So yeah, you remember you're trying to get to a fortress up north, and it's near your mountains. And they're supposed to be possibly coming to help investigate your stuff too, since they're in the area, or helping you at least get back home. But they did some research with you in Saudi Arabia and tried what they could.
Okay. Cool.
So she had said, so she had asked what you guys were doing in town. So how would Sierra kind of respond to that?
Oh, I don't know what we're doing in town.
Oh, well, all right. Well, if you just are into this sort of fashion, you know what's real good? If you can get we got some of these pouches too. If you like the cowl though, we've got that, but we've got, I made pouches out of some small elk, and I sewed them together with some we found it was sad. We found a magical creature, kind of half already dead, but we took some of its tendons and stuff. It was this big scary thing with a bunch of shells and stuff. But we took some of its tendons and we kind of sewed them together and stuff.
I did like the pouches too. Sorry, out of game. I'm trying to figure out what my character sheet is so I can see how much money I have.
So it would be the book. So it's the book icon on the top right of the screen, and then
I'll share my screen so you can see.
Yeah.
And then I click on Sierra.
Yes.
So this is mine. You would just go down to characters, click on yours.
Oh, where are you showing me that? Is that in Zoom?
Yes.
Yeah. So go to the journal icon, and then down below, under characters, you should see your Sierra name here.
I'm gonna use the restroom real fast. I need a bio break. Sorry, one moment.
Okay.
Did you find it?
It finally loaded. Okay, hold on.
Okay. So book.
Yeah, I'm scrolling down.
And it should pop up in a new window.
Oh, I have 160 gold pieces?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, it should appear down in your items. Like, where'd it go? There we go. It's like gold versus silver versus your others. How much currency you have?
Yeah, I have 160.
Yeah.
So
Should be enough to get a pouch.
Yeah. So after I spend it, I could like add an item. It looks like.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. Since we're going to go take a break, refresh my memory. After the like mushroom people and releasing that thing out of the cave, what are like how far is this are these shops from where we just were?
So if I remember right, and I'll share my screen again just so I can, because I don't think my stuff pops up. When we came through the gate, there was like all of this stuff that was kind of here where the Dragonborn were up at the front gate, and then the town hall where I went with Ulm, I think is here, the A6. Is that right, Carolyn? Does that sound about right? I can't remember. And then we'll probably head down here for dinner later.
Okay.
Or up here for dinner, northeast, yeah. So it's not a really big space.
No, it was a very compact city because of the imminent danger. They had really pulled all of the people in the neighboring regions down into it. So yeah, everything is very compact and kind of filled to the brim here.
So did we come over here because the shopping like kind of enticed us?
I think we just came through the gate and the shopping was there.
Okay. I don't know. How much is it called cow?
Oh, the cow. Yes.
How much is it?
Well, the cow's 3 gold pieces.
Oh. How much is a pouch?
That's 15 gold pieces because it's got a bit of that special creature.
I would like both, please.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, well, certainly. I can certainly get you that. So she starts putting it together, and she'll take your gold, and she'll actually flip open the pouch, and she'll say, "Now this here." She'll show you a symbol of an engraved symbol on the inside of a unicorn head.
Ooh.
This here's the symbol of my Leaky, and she's a very wonderful person. And when you flip this open, anything that goes inside that's smaller than your hand, it's going to go somewhere else for a little bit if it's one at a time, or sometimes when you do it, it's kind of cool. So Grandmammy sewed it in, and she ended up when she pulled stuff back out, it would glow. So like whether it's a coin or whether it's a rock, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's one of the special things.
So would it be safe for me to store my things in this leather pouch?
Oh, you can store rather regular things. It's just if it's small and you want it to, you can certainly have her. You can certainly have it do this fancy trick. It's kind of fun. It works well if you're if it's. So Grandmammy gave me something like this for when I was a kid, when I was a wee girl, and it was great for if we were wandering in the woods or something, or if we got into trouble, I'd be able to use something like this, and the shiny thing, I'd be able to throw it, and they'd be able to see it, and so it was a good way to kind of fun. So
okay, well, thank you.
Yeah. Well, I hope you all have good travels. You guys are so much fun. Like everyone here's like a lot of the people in this village are are a little more likely to, just... They don't seem super relaxed. They seem relaxed, but it sounds like they've had a rough time, and you guys seem really cool. Except that one lady. She seems weird.
The one with the bagpipes.
Not you, honey.
But, okay. So, Sierra now has a small pouch that allows her to basically cast light on anything that's smaller than her fist. And so, yeah. So you can, and somehow it's connected to this unicorn symbol. With that, and Shara's conversation with Grandmammy had finished and concluded. Ethelmora is starting to feel a little bored, and it's about then... Wait, question was, would Olm have returned to his kobold form? Or were you going to try and convince him to stay in Dragonborn, Tonya?
I was going to try and convince him to either, if he's going to change back to the kobold to be more comfortable, at least change when we go talk to the Dragonborn again.
Well, I think it would be unusual for me to go now, but maybe we could. Would maybe you and Shara and Sierra would come with me to visit in the evening? Maybe with less of the troop around.
Well, what I was kind of hoping is that maybe Shara and Sierra were moving them towards the inn to get settled in for the evening. If they're still there, we'll come back later.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go back into kobold form. Cool. A red-skinned kobold creature is now in front of you. And so you go back, you rejoin the party. They had not started moving yet, though they seemed to be a little antsy. So if you guys want to set up in the innkeepers won't charge you anything. It's saying profusely how thankful they are for everything you've done for them, and recognizing most of your party. You'll get asked by random people like, hey, where's the fish lady? And where's the fish lady and the other redhead? Some of the teenage boys will ask. Sorry, I just did. Yeah.
They had to branch off from us for a little while, so we're meeting them somewhere else.
Well, I hope they come through soon, because it'd be mighty fine to see them again.
And why would that be? Flashing, gash, and intimidation towards them.
Make an intimidation roll. With advantage, or with your bonus, right?
Yeah.
With your
so I think it's
facial scar advantage.
Charisma, right?
Yes. Intimidation?
Yeah.
Oh, or I think, you can just hit intimidation.
It doesn't matter. It's the same.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, wow.
Even with your bonus on intimidation,
I'm tired.
The guy seems... So the young kid, the teenage kid seems a little confused by whatever you're doing, and he's like, it was
Stop
cool.
trying to flirt with my friends who aren't here.
I mean, okay.
I've spent 8 days in a cave. I want a meal, which I'm going to go to Sarge's house for, a bath,
Okay.
and some quiet.
Okay. So, with that, how are we doing on time? All right. So you all can basically, if you're going to go to, who are you going to get settled in the inn, and who are you taking to Sarge's, or are you having everybody go to Sarge's? The Sergeant General.
Would
it be fair to Sarge's wife to fill their house with 5 guards, a god, a werewolf, a centaur, an Olm, a Sierra, and a me? So 11 people coming to their house. Is that right? Does that sound right? I got everybody?
So, in character, you all hear Jinxaris musing some version of this out loud. How do you respond?
I like dinner.
Send a contingent representing the group.
Mm-hmm.
Or would some folks
Yeah.
like to sit here and get some rest?
Yes.
I like dinner.
You like dinner? Do you want dinner at Sarge's house,
I
Sarah?
like dinner.
Do you want dinner at Sarge's house, Shara?
Yeah, I can sing a song.
Hint, 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 hint.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
All right, why don't we settle everybody else in here at the inn?
Okay. Roll 2 percentile die. Actually, let's have Yolanda, go ahead and roll a D100. You can use the dice on the screen if you want, or the 10-sided dice that you have, if you have your regular dice out. And Carolyn, let's have you do that too. D100s. Okay, cool. That'll work.
Oh, complete opposites.
All right. So we'll see what happens there. Okay. And then, let's see. The three of you and Olm, or just the three of you, are going to Sarge's?
Yes, and oh.
Okay. So the four of you head out and let the rest of them kind of get settled. Ethelmora will stay with Clavel and Dorvan.
And Terry is...
And Terry, yeah. We'll kind of stay close to her for, yeah. Where's the Pegasus?
I have the Pegasus evermore with me.
Okay. So is it...
You don't trust me?
Yes.
It's in the baby sling.
Okay. Okay. All right. So Pegasus in the baby sling as well. All right. So you guys travel over. Cool. And when you get to, and it's basically, let me see. Yeah. So the inn is basically, I think A7, and A6 is going to be partial. Is basically his house.
I had that mixed up. Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember to make sure I don't miss it. Because A3 is basically the massive barracks, if I'm remembering correctly.
Okay.
I think. So, yeah, suffice to say, something like that, or, these are representatives, so there might be a few buildings and whatnot beyond it. But, so you go to his house. It's not a huge home both in this region and for the socioeconomic status and everything. Even for the role he plays in the town, he doesn't have a massive mansion or anything like that. So he's basically just got a couple rooms, and it seems like he's got a couple extra, like 4 total bedrooms and a sitting room, living room style, with a desk in the corner and kind of one of those old black cast iron stovepipe style stoves. And you walk in, and as you do, you knock on the door, and you hear the greetings of "Be there in a minute. 1 moment, please." And so a high-pitched voice comes from inside, and the door opens to his wife is. She is, you can see that she is a fairly solid woman, muscular build, only about 5 foot even. So she's petite but muscular build, the kind that you might see in a Brazilian jiu-jitsu ring. Just for so she's solid, muscular-wise.
Is what you're saying.
What?
Scrappy.
Yeah. But she has a feminine feel to her. She's got kind of that. It's a blend of like country athletic style going on. She has her hair done up in a bun, tied with what looks to be some sort of. It's almost like a thin bark type hair wrap. That's about a half inch band of like tree bark that's been made flexible so that it can be used as a hair grabber clip thing. So yeah, well, it's mighty fine. It's good to have you all visit. Robert said that you all would be stopping by, and I was really expecting a few more. But maybe it's better this way.
I want to invade you with far too many people on such short notice.
Well, that's mighty kind of you. That's mighty kind. Well, why don't you all come in and go ahead and take a seat. I got a fresh loaf out of the oven and a small forest critter, a little bit of meat for us for the evening to go with it. So.
Ooh, forest critter.
That's very kind. Is there anything that we can help with? I would feel more comfortable helping.
You're welcome to come over. Do you know much about cooking?
I think if I remember right, I was a terrible cook.
Well, if you...
Maybe more along the lines of helping plating would be better.
How are you good? You think you could handle just cutting the bread for me into manageable slices?
I think I can manage that.
Wonderful.
She's really good with a knife.
Well, most are around these parts. They can't bake bread for squat, but you give them a knife and they sure can skewer it. And so she will. So she will give you a very nice round sourdough loaf looking thing. And yeah, you're welcome to cut it into various pieces. Let's have you make what would be a cooking check. So do you have proficiency in any sort of cooking? Or what? How would you like to cut the bread here? With what weapons? Or
sleight
otherwise?
of hand, I don't know.
Her face.
Aerobics? Athletics?
How about your proficiencies in that other column there on the left?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at, and I'm like, none of them would be good with cooking. Medicine? Maybe?
Well,
Cooking is a kind of medicine?
You could do sleight of hand, and what weapon
Or
or
survival?
blade or you could do survival.
Survival?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do survival. Survival's better than medicine or sleight of hand.
I mean, it's not your first time cutting bread, so yeah, you know. Would you look at
I
that?
cut that bread real nice.
Yeah. So it's like, so what weapon would you use? Describe how you cut this bread magnificently.
Do you have like a hibachi moment? You like throw it in the air, you like, and then like bread flies everywhere.
I'm like, what's the smallest knife I have?
Magic one? No.
I take out the wood vampire dagger. And since it's healing light now, it kind of is like a little laser that cuts through the bread. And I'm very, very careful not to scorch the cutting board.
Very cool. So yeah,
And not let the wife see that it's a shriveled up hand or a finger.
Right. So as you go to slice, you actually, because of the nature of the knife, which I think you had transformed so that it did radiant damage, is that right?
Radiant, yes, that's right.
So
Sorry.
you actually get a little bit of, like, you cut it in such a way that it gives it just a slight toasting. So you get a nice kind of crusted with this solid loaf, and it with that 26 on the survival, like it is like very finely sliced, and then that toasting kind of gives it a very is it biscotti? What's that stuff called? Like the long thin bread that like it's like a little crunchier. Am I saying the wrong word?
Biscotti?
Biscotti. I was so close. Look at my culturedness. So sort of. I feel like I don't know if that.
So it turns it into a cracker instead of a piece of toasted bread.
It's got that look to it, but it was a really soft bread to begin with, so it's not that crunchy, but it's got the look of it.
So it's more like toasted bread for bruschetta.
That's probably closer.
It sounds delicious.
I was blending my words, so
Where
yes.
it's toasted on the outside and a little soft on the inside.
Yes, just like that. Cool.
Bruschetta.
And then bruschetta. So yeah, I probably did a blendy thing. We were so close. I had options. So
we got there. It's all good.
So what would Sierra be doing entering into the house of this person she doesn't really doesn't know much about, but she seems really friendly. What's Sierra's first reaction there?
Am I smelling good food?
Yeah. She would make this would be a pretty good meal here. The bread smells nice. It's kind of that smell of fresh bread, along with kind of spiced meat. Is coming. It is just filling the room because it's not a huge space.
Okay. Well, since I'm, a little socially awkward, I'm focusing. I'm anticipating I'm getting excited about eating.
Nice. Very cool. And then Shara, the room, thankfully, Robert is, as she called him, is a fairly large man, and the door is fairly wide. So you can kind of
10% larger than I was last time.
Yeah, and so it's not a big house, but it is tall, like it has headroom. So the floor plan is small, but the height is good for you. So,
Nice 10-foot high ceiling.
yeah.
I settle in the corner and I provide some dinner background music. BGM.
Very cool. Yeah, and there's
Sing
like,
for my supper.
oh, that's lovely. That's certainly lovely.
Hey, sure, that's a song I haven't heard before. Did you learn that from the merchants?
Oh, do we want to broach this topic? All's with us, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe we should. Well, actually, yes, I did learn this from the granny down at the Gypsies, but I'll have to tell you about it later, especially Olm.
So are you playing the tune, but not singing the lyrics?
Yes.
Okay. Make a performance check. And I'm gonna give.
That's how we see how we do. Ugh. Apparently, I'm not having a great day.
You did just hear it once.
That is true.
And still, it's a 9. Where is my other window?
That is your highest proficiency, isn't it?
It's one of them.
Question. Yeah, pretty much.
Where
yeah.
did I must have closed.
Just having a great rolling night.
I think I accidentally closed his character sheet, so let's see. And he gets a history check. Oh. There is, in spite of those being either of your very high skills for the two of you, Olm does not seem to recognize what you're playing.
Oh, lass. Well, we'll talk to him about it later. I just don't want to do it in front of these people.
Yeah.
That could be very personal.
But for now, it's a nice, fine ambiance to the music with that. Yeah.
Excellent.
And I realized, I think I said Robert, but the more my brain comes back to me, I believe his actual name was Marcus the last time, so I'm sorry.
That sounds more familiar.
Yeah, I'm like, there's something that, I'm like, that's not who I think it is. So Marcus, also known as Sarge or Sergeant General, so Marcus walks in, made it here early, I see. Well done, good to have you, and I don't see any ancient beings, do I? Is she invisible?
No, you don't.
She's not invisible, right?
Not invisible. At
that's
least not unless she followed us as an invisible thing. And if so, hello, Ephelmora. We're going to dinner.
Wait. Okay. So, well, it's good to have you guys for dinner. It's is there
for dinner? Sorry.
Sierra would get confused by that.
I'm thinking in my head, have us for dinner.
Yes. Have you over for dinner? I'm sorry for the confusion. It's been a long month, but surprisingly relaxing, but long. And he will go over and give a kiss on the forehead to his wife.
No.
And she didn't introduce herself yet by name, I don't think. She just said, no.
She just said,
Yeah. I see. I trust you've met Minnie here, and she's certainly a strong and she's a wonderful cook. You're gonna enjoy the meal, and she's one of the strongest women I know. More like the strongest, sweetie.
That's so sweet.
She says.
Oh.
Well, I am glad you all were able to come. I did want to talk to you more privately. We did have a couple rumors come through recently. There seems to be. We had a young woman who rode a dinosaur, trying to give us a warning. She said that there was some sort of decay in some part of the forest, but she was in and out too quick for us to really tell what exactly she meant. She tried to mark it on a map, but just be aware. She mentioned that was an issue somewhere, and we were having a hard time. She spoke very quickly, and we were all kind of thrown off by the small lizard-like creature in the first place that she was riding.
Wait, so an area of decay in the forest? Tell us more. What do you mean?
She said that the trees had grown together in some sort of like wall that cut out all light, and that her and her friends had entered in and tried. There was to investigate. They tended to help with those sorts of things, and now she was being. They sent her off to warn neighboring areas, and so there were some these. She said there were decayed creatures that when they bit you, they caused disease or made you very sick, and that some of them were rather large. She also shared about a creature near the end that was strangely magical, and possibly that she said they defeated them, but that there had also been something possibly that had escaped down a tunnel that was nearby, and they didn't have the strength to follow it at the time.
Is this from our short campaign?
Out of character, yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. I just needed that confirmation.
Yes.
That I'm not going
that
insane.
one from a year and a half ago, yes.
It happened.
Yes. A year and a half. Oh,
yes.
That was actually 2 years ago, I think. That was
yeah,
the other.
Yeah. I might have to go back and look at that.
That was my other character, right?
Yes.
It had a velociraptor.
Yes.
So in character, in my head am thinking this kind of sounds familiar to what's happened to my mountains, but this is a forest.
Yeah.
Like a diseased forest.
Yeah. That sounds. Yeah, you're not far off there. If you want to make an insight check to see how much connection you can make between the two, for sure that. But you might be able to draw some other. So if you do an insight check.
Is that D20?
Plus
my insight.
Plus your insight. Yep.
Okay, so there's that part.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I had closed my character sheet.
Some people's DMs.
Oh, there's so many.
I was blaming myself on that one.
Oh, there's so many windows. It's hard to get them out of the way to see other things. So then I just closed it. Sorry. So now it's loading. So hold on. Oh.
So yeah, and you guys can kind of make some small talk a little bit. But if you had any questions, Olm's kind of quietly sitting there listening, and he'll offer some things in. What is it?
It's just a +1, so 11.
Okay. So you think so? Yeah, for sure. That sounds familiar. It sounds a little bit
like our first big encounter is a party as well, which is I think what the observation we'd all made before, if I remember right.
And do you want to think that in character, or is that you as Tonya musing?
So Shara, that sounds really familiar to our first big fight together, doesn't it?
Don't remember.
With an evil creature?
Where I got the knife I cut the bread with.
Oh, you mean the evil tree shimmer dust?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Huh. I just have to get more friends to go check it out. I wouldn't want to go by ourselves for that one. Yeah.
But where exactly is this forest? On a map, Marcus?
Well, it was kind of hard to understand it, but let me see if I can remember. So, and he will, and I think you all had managed to get updated maps for both parts of the party, and so if we are, let me move you guys there. So if you pull out like your map that we say you have, he'll say that it was supposed to be that the decay they found was actually somewhere closer. He's like, she mentioned closer to the coast. It was hard to tell whether she meant south east or just east. And so, could you guys see me pinging on the
Yeah,
map?
that'd be where that other party was.
So you guys can see the pings? I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, she...
On the
I see.
Yeah, so they weren't... So it's in either... He gives you one of two locations because he didn't roll high enough to get it exactly. But it's either here-ish, in this square, that area, or in this area. That would be...
And the lower one is where we encountered them, this party.
You all had encountered that north of Altiri. I just lost the name of it, and Hiskadim. So I think you guys encountered your tree like somewhere over here, just near where you found Olm and that sort of thing. So you all had, so I believe it was somewhere over here. Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But if it's closer to the coast, that lower area would have made sense. Yes?
You make an insight check.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So,
And I'm saying this to Marcus.
yeah, so as you're kind of talking about it, he's like, well, like you, it's almost like you start saying, like, as you're kind of talking through it with him, you mentioned, because you guys have had just traveled back this center road, right? This, along this lines, right? Toward, Agrum, and Shadia Gravia.
Yeah.
And you didn't remember seeing anything there, and you had just traveled this other one. So you feel like if it was in that lower region, you feel like you might have seen it or caught somebody on the way. And so you actually do think it's more this one, the middle one. Based on how he's describing it, you guys kind of get a chance to pinpoint, especially having... I believe you guys had heard some similar rumors at Shadia Gravy at the college from one of your professor friends.
Right.
I can't remember if it was in Carolyn's note, but I believe that someone had a conversation with one of the professors to say, you know, they had gotten some warning about some weird stuff. But, yeah. All that to say, it is very possible that it's more the middle one with an insight of 26.
Okay. It's all good.
Yeah. So.
All right, so we're just having a nice conversation.
Yeah.
And this is the point where I want to kind of bring up to Marcus and Ulm about, you know, why I think it would be good to go back to the Dragonborn folks at the end, and like we're kind of working our way through the conversation. And the reason that he's in Coldblood form, you know, most of the time is because our godlike friend is scaring the snot out of him.
Well, it started because Ulm will say, well, it also started because someone tried to kill me in Shadia Gravia, and they've been. It seemed like they were following us or targeting me somehow, and so, yeah.
We wanted to make sure that Ulm is safe, but at the same time, we want to make sure we get Ulm home if that's where he's supposed to be, or if that's where he's safest. Because it didn't seem like Ulm made it onto the beach where we met him, because we had been talking through the trees and all the things that we experienced when we first all met up in our conversation. You know, the reason that we're all party to begin with is we wanted to help this guy, and so that the closest thing we've had to the Dragonborns is the merchants, and they seemed familiar for him.
And
so Shara, Sierra, when you talked to them, did you get anything from them?
Honestly, Granny had an interesting story to tell. She said that their family had lost a child back in the day, and his name was Little Eddie.
I look at Ulm to see if Little Eddie makes sense for Ediston.
And what was Sierra about to say?
Oh, well, you know me, I wasn't very social. I was just focusing on purchasing some apparel. Though, you guys know about the pouch, but it has nothing to do with what you're asking.
What did you buy from them?
Oh, a fur cowl and a little leather pouch that has some magical property.
Ooh, I look forward. Did you bring it with you, or is it back at the end?
Oh, I'm wearing it right here on my belt.
Show it off.
Well, I thought you would like it. It has a unicorn thing on it, right?
Yeah.
I tend to like unicorns. Yes.
Yes. I haven't tested it out yet. When I find a little rock, I was going to see if when I put it in the pouch, like the Dragonborn said, it's supposed to have a glowing property. I have yet to test it out.
Glowing. Interesting.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, and then I look at and I look over to her. I'm like, "Are you ready to share? You look nervous."
I'm staring at all of like any reaction.
When you say Little Eddie,
Yeah.
his history check does trigger because he has. So that's a 22 for him. And when you say Little Eddie, he kind of gets this. It's kind of like an Anton Ego moment in Ratatouille when he has the meal that's like perspective. He has one of those kind of looks to his face, like his eyes dilate or whatever as the memories trigger. Did you? What did they say about Little Eddie?
That he had a sister who cried when she was lost and that the family was in trouble and he disappeared.
What was
They
his
lived in
sister's
caves.
He pulls out his spell book because his art where he's also been journaling, and he give me a moment. Let's see if that. Okay, so he's gonna try and draw. There's an image in my mind. One moment. I remember. I remember a cave. I remember being very hungry, and a boat. We had learned to sail.
Was the cave on the ocean?
Yes, it was hidden. We were. I remember us hiding out. I can't. It's fuzzy, but I was so young. And then somehow, how did I get back to the Ritz Spires from this place? I can't. That's all. That's all I can remember right now. There's somewhere near the ocean, and the Ritz Spires doesn't have caves. What? Meanwhile, the little Pegasus creature will be trying to nudge at Sierra's pouch where the unicorn head is, and when the little baby Pegasus creature pokes its, or what do we call it, an alicorn? Is that what we named it? Because it's
Horn.
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it has a horn and wings, it's an alicorn.
Yeah. So the alicorn, when the nose touches, is kind of pushing around, and when its nose touches the symbol of the unicorn, it kind of has this kind of moment of like sparkly unicorn symbol that erupts.
Oh, I was thinking in my head, this Eddie kid would be too big to disappear in my magical pouch.
Yes, that's true.
He is small, but not that.
Nice. That's true. That is not where you would stuff a small child to get rid of them. And I haven't thought about that very much, thankfully. So.
Well, I forgot. More than like there was the glowing thing, but wasn't there also the disappearing thing? Like some things could disappear in that little pouch.
Yeah.
So in my head, I thought, well, as everyone's trying to figure out what happened to everyone, that's what I thought was, well, he didn't disappear in my pouch.
Yeah, and
Was there anything in the pouch when you bought it?
I don't think so.
Check it. Look inside.
Okay.
do an
I'm looking
investigation or Arcana check.
Because I'm like, what is the Pegasus trying to get at?
Oh.
inside. Okay, so let's see.
Oh.
17
I will investigate.
plus-
Like,
Yeah.
why is the Pegasus after your
so
pouch?
that was you?
That was
Oh, you rolled.
Oh no,
Oh,
I meant Sierra needed to roll an investigation check.
okay.
So her roll is higher, so if she wants to peek into
Oh,
the
because
pouch,
you rolled a
she's-
6. What's your character's investigation again?
Only one.
Okay.
So it'd only be a 7.
So
she can feel free to look. I don't mind.
So with a 7, how would Sierra try and investigate this? And if to say
We're
that-
shocked that the Pegasus has made it go sparkle, sparkle.
Yeah, I think I like open it and let Jinxaris see what's in it, because a part of me already thought, I know she loves unicorns and the symbolism is important to her. I did notice that it had a unicorn symbol on it, so it's more opening it and kind of opening it in her direction to investigate.
So do you ask me something in particular to look for or look at?
I thought you asked if there's anything in it. So the sparkle thing happens, and my reaction is just to open it in your direction, like the top of it, like look.
Sierra's
Make
like,
it do a thing.
I don't see it. Do you see anything? So with a 17, then
Is it still sparkling?
so the sparkle is kind of just a burst of energy. So the symbol does seem to glow. As you kind of fiddle around, you do see like the symbol is stitched, and whatever that thread is kind of is embossed with some sort of light magic of some kind. As you get, and there's a resonance within you. The way you feel when you pray sincerely, like there's a resonance with this, whatever it is. So as you're looking, though, investigation requires kind of poking and prodding a little bit. So you kind of,
Right.
so maybe.
So as Sierra's holding up the bag to me, I kind of peer into the bag a little bit. I don't notice anything right away, and I'm like, I kind of open the bag a little bit more. I'm like, what made? I look at the Pegasus, scritch a little horn a little bit. I'm like, what were you looking for, little one? And maybe, and maybe the little thing's just like, and does little like, it was just cute. I liked it.
Yeah.
The kind of like little animal thing. And so I stick my hand in and fish around and
So-
see if I feel anything.
As you're fishing around, at one point, it's almost like you're running your finger along the stitching, and it causes the stitching to glow as you touch it, and you can feel it almost like wanting, like trying to draw some of your arcane, some of your spiritual energy out from. So the power that you usually do like lay on hands, you feel it like you can feel that trying to be accessed, for not like a hacker. It's like it's not a scary
It's
thing.
more like a connection rather than
Yeah, but
it's like I'm completing a circuit, maybe.
I'm gonna say it this way, and I don't mean for it to sound Little Shop of Horrors style, but it's kind of like feed me a little bit.
Okay.
You get that feel like it's like there's a hunger, but it's not like creepy.
Okay. I'm like, and I pull my hand out really quick, and I'm like, that was weird. Because no, that's not for you. That's for me. And I talk to the bag.
Okay. Make a religion or... Yeah, I think religion checks the winner.
I'm really confused by this bag.
I'm feeling a little bad about that. I just thought it looked cool.
It's a pretty bag, and it's a really
Why don't you let
powerful
Ohm look
bag.
at it? Maybe he has an idea. Have Ohm look at it. Maybe he has an idea. He's educated.
Ohm is gone slightly catatonic.
Oh, he's still processing his memories.
Yeah, like, and he's going kind of beautiful mind scribbles right now. Like he's almost like catatonic's probably the wrong word. Like he's unresponsive. Sorry, and he seems very focused. Like his eyes are closed, and it's almost like his hands are drawing symbols and pictures and caricatures that he can't quite make sense of right now.
He's doing
How about
automatic
Marcus?
writing, is what you're saying.
Kind of, yes.
Okay.
Well, can we show it to someone else in the house? Maybe they have an idea.
Don't try and show the magic stuff to me. That's not my skill set, right?
What about Ethel?
Ethel's not with us.
Wait, did we bring her? No, we didn't. She's back at the end.
did
right?
not.
I forgot. Sorry.
Thank goodness
She's
for
too
that
creepy for
too.
dinner.
Who's Ethel? Who's
Oh,
Ethel, dear?
uh,
The wife, Minnie asks. Who's Ethel?
Ah, vengeful goddess we released from a cave.
Yeah.
She's vengeful, but she's got potential.
Mhm.
Potential.
She's a reformed vengeful.
Okay. She got a good insight on that. Sweetie, I don't think. I don't even know how to process that, but it sounds like you might have got yourself into some trouble there.
Yeah, we do that.
This needs a little love.
So, back to the bag. So, nobody in the room can do anything. The last thing Tonia's got from it. With a 6, you're not quite understanding like the implication, but the message was clear that it's like feed me or help me or heal me or something, and it's trying to draw on your holy energies.
Okay. Sierra, I might want to add another point. When we're in a safe and secure location, I want to play with your pouch a little bit more. Are you?
That's fine.
All right.
Hope you give her dinner before you play with it.
I like that Tony
right,
and I
then.
basically made the same face at that one. All right. So yeah. So you guys have a lovely evening. Olm does manage to come out of it as food's being served, and there's a little bit more talk of business, but you also it becomes just a fun time to hang out as you get to know Marcus and Minnie, and the two of them, and they talk a little bit about how they met, that Marcus was actually tied up by some ruffians after being a little too soldier inebriated. He was supposed to be on guard but wasn't, and Minnie happened to be traveling down a road that some highway bandits had basically cornered him when he was patrolling and saved him. He had been tied up and had been beaten fairly profusely, and Minnie came and wiped the floor with them and with whoever did it, and untied him and got him back to town to heal and stuff. So yeah, you hear that they met in their early 20s-ish, kind of thing.
Too bad our paladin's not here for you to spar with.
Yeah. So things like that, and you guys, what would you all share with them, having heard their story a little bit? Which story about your character, and it doesn't have to be like from the campaign. It can be part of your character's backstory as you're sharing.
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Part about the diseased forest sounds like what has happened to my home back in the mountains, and is the reason why I'm even on this journey.
That's quite a wide spread if you're coming from mountains up north that has the same problem.
It seems like it's a big, scary thing that's going to come at all of us eventually.
Did the people in your area figure out how to deal with it?
Minnie will say, well, now she was just passing through giving us warning. I don't know that they had answers. They just had information.
This is important information, not one that I really want to hear, because it probably spells my doom once again. But it's really important to kind of hear and know. if anybody else passes through, tell them that it's radiant light that works the best at killing these whatever they are, especially if you end up getting a tree vampire like we did. So keep that in mind for y'all in the future. That's light kills it.
Ooh.
Do you say a tree vampire?
Yeah, how do you think I cut the bread? Hold up the knife again. I turned it into a radiant dagger, but it is the finger of the vampire who first killed me the first time.
Marcus was halfway through biting into like his fourth slice of bread, and he just slowly moves the bread away with pursed lips and a full mouth.
I'm like, oh no. I savor every bite of that freaking bread.
How bright of a light does this need to be?
Have you ever seen a radiant light spell rain down from the heavens?
No, kind of live
Alright,
a
I'll be
lonely
sure to
life.
show you that sometime. It's pretty bright.
Well, maybe we could test out to see how bright of a light my pouch can make when we put things in it.
Ooh.
And you could tell me if that would work.
Well, that was a pretty bright light, but it was very small.
Hmm.
But a pouch also seems to want some energy, so maybe it gets stronger the more it's fed.
Okay. I mean, I don't think the bread will work that we're eating, but
Sentient
We could
bag.
try, especially since Marcus doesn't seem to want to eat any more bread.
okay.
And it's hand-sized shaped, or hand-sized, which is what you were told you should use, right?
Yeah, smaller than a hand it should glow, but should we do that indoors or outdoors?
Oh.
Did they give you any warning about space?
I don't remember. All I remember was that things could disappear or create a light as long as it's smaller than the size of my paw.
Have we had any ale with dinner?
No, Marcus is a dry household.
teetotaler?
Marcus has a dry household. His life's too serious to relax in that particular way.
Okay, so I look at Minnie, I'm like, do you mind if we take a couple of slices of bread with us on the road?
To feed to the bag?
Yes, Minnie, to feed the bag.
That would
Minnie.
Marcus, dear, you know what they meant. Honestly, I don't know what any of this means. But I'm glad they're here. Good friends are hard to find sometimes.
Even if they're weird like us?
Sometimes those are the best.
Aw.
Ain't that right, dear? Those are my children.
What just happened in your household?
I heard one of my children scream and thump. Anyways, I'm sure you all have plenty. Yes, you can certainly have some bread here, especially now knowing that it's from some sort of vampiric finger or something. You're welcome to keep those. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for not telling me till after I ate my full serving.
Jen, you should never have fingered their bread.
Wow.
Literally, both myself and my character look at Shara and Carolyn, and just slow head turn. On that note, I think we're calling it an evening.
So you, you kind of, Marcus will walk over to Olm and just lay his hand on his shoulder. Friend, it'll be okay. You'll figure it out. You seem like a smart fellow, and you've got good people around you. And Olm kind of looks up, and as his eyes open kind of for the first time in a while, he does seem to he's teared up slightly. It seems like he's like kind of clenched his jaw and is looking up and is just holding in. No tears yet, but he's, there's some wetness to his eyes.
Verklempt.
Huh?
He's verklempt.
Sure. I don't know. I can't remember if I've heard that word before, but okay.
Verklempt?
Oh,
Emotionally,
yes.
It's like when you get that lump in your throat kind of feeling.
Yes, that's what it looks like. as he's kind of. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And thank you for the wonderful meal, Minnie. Thank you. Okay, so you guys can
prepare the meltdown.
Yeah.
We all, hugs, goodbyes, head out the door.
Yeah.
That's the Marcus will give Olm one more of those kind of Roman style handshakes, and then you all are off. Were you going to stop by the
Merchants.
the Dragonborn? Okay.
What time is it? Nighttime? Is it like?
It is
go home
nighttime.
and sleep, and then go see them in the morning? Because Granny is tired, or should we go see them now?
Let's go see them now.
Okay.
Because they'll wake up Granny if it's important.
Good point.
Mm-hmm. As you get closer, let me do a d20 real quick.
Hang on a sec.
Okay.
Sierra, can we borrow that cowl you just bought and cover Olm's head?
Sure. For
All right.
how long do you need this for?
Just for now. Just for a few minutes.
Okay. Yes.
Just while we're talking to the Dragonborn.
Okay.
So I handed it over to Olm. I'm like, just in case you feel like you want to hide a little bit while we're talking.
Yes. Should I stay in kobold form or
That's up to you, my friend.
maybe I'll wait. Maybe I'll less than 50,
Okay.
he stays in kobold form. Higher than 50, he changes. What do we get? 82, he changes. All right, so, all right.
Okay.
He kind of oscillates mentally between the two, and then finally he's like, and then he drops into his normal green dragonborn self. And so, as you all walk over, there are two people out in front of the camp, sitting over basically a large pot of stew. And as you all get closer, the teenage girl, you all will be able to hear. Actually, no, you wouldn't. So the teenage girl gets looks up from you from the pot where she and it turns out her mother are basically kind of working, taking turns stirring the soup, the stew, and she looks up, noticing that you guys are coming closer, and as she does, the light hits her in such a way that Olm seems to like stop in his tracks and says, Ami? Ami. And he drops the cowl and looks closer. And, who are you? Why do I know you? And he's looking at the teenage girl and saying this.
It's okay to get closer.
And she seems taken aback, like, yeah. Yeah. What would you guys? Anything you would do in this moment?
Do we know where Granny is? Is she around?
Not anywhere obvious.
So, Carolyn, since you heard the sister's name earlier, would him saying that shortened form of her name make sense to you?
I can remember what it was.
You can make a history check for your character.
Because I'm really smart tonight, apparently. Let's see if I'm smart tonight. Oh, not smart.
Okay, so then he will. Sierra, would you do anything? Seeing Olm, you're still getting to know him, I think, right?
Yes, and he's borrowing my new cowl, but I'm trying to be okay with that.
You're like, I just got it, and now he's just taking it off. Like what? Like so you're just distracted.
Like if I knew he needed one, I probably would have bought him his own.
Yeah, I could have gotten two.
Okay.
So he will. Okay, so then you say he can get closer. Make a persuasion check. I'll let you do it with advantage.
Okay.
And hopefully I'm
So-
not. Yeah, go ahead.
As I do, I kind of grab his hands for like moral support.
Okay, that's not bad. Okay.
I haven't moved. I just grab his hand. I'm like, it's okay. If you're scared, you don't have to. But if you want to get closer and ask her more questions, this is the time to do it.
So as you all, he's going to slowly move forward, and I'm assuming you guys are kind of moving forward with him.
Moral support.
Yeah. As he moves forward, the teenage dragonborn girl will look and say, "Mother, what? Do you know this guy?" And the mom had been kind of focused on the stew, and like she's like, "What now? What now, child?" This here man, do you know him? He called me by your name. What? And so they both look, and Om will say again, Ami, what? Why do I know you? Who? And he's like, I drew your face in my book, and I don't know who you are. And the mom, the middle-aged dragonborn, looking at Olm now, who looks to be about the same age as her, will stand up and slowly kind of step in front of her daughter. Chamath, go get Grandmommy. And so Chamath will run off, and or Chamath, I said it wrong. And she'll say, where? She'll walk up slowly. She'll pick up, actually, as she comes closer and you guys close the distance, she'll pick up one of the embers, one of the sticks underneath their little stew here that just has a little extra light, and they don't have a lamp or anything. So she picks up one of these sticks, almost like a mini torch, and holds it up to his face. What's your name, friend? I've been going by Om. My formal name is Ediston. And her hand starts to shake, and she drops the little torch, and there's a moment of like youth return to her, and she'd been this very, she had been she held herself a certain way, it's not the same relaxed way that the rest of her family had. And you see her kind of relaxing and leaning forward, and as she comes forward, she like goes to touch Ediston's face. May I? And he'll allow it, and she'll start like pressing, just it's very Peter, is that you? From Hook, right? And it's about that moment that Grandmimi and Chamath will come back around the corner, slightly hurriedly, and as they do, Amy will reach and give Ediston a very big hug and say, and just like she's sobbing into his shoulder, and just saying like, little Eddie, I lost you. I'm so sorry. I let go of your hand, and I never should have. We shouldn't have gone there. I tried to tell them we shouldn't have gone there, and that I wasn't old enough or mature enough, and so it just blubbers for a few minutes, and until you hear until Chamath and Gramimi walk up or like walk closer, and in a tearful, sultry voice, Gramimi will begin to sing the chorus that you heard her sing earlier. One was lost, and the other cried. And that's where we'll end for the night. So, with you all standing in the barely lit moonlit night, while a lot of people cry and sing.
Now we're supposed to meet again with the full complement.
Yes, on the 14th is. Yep. And so.
Did you send a calendar invite about that?
I don't think I did. Let me check.
Okay.
But yeah.
Time did we say? Oh, right, you had said what time. I remember there was.
Yep. So we'll the return to each other will happen. I think it's on the 14th. Doop doop.
Yes.
Okay. So do we need to have one more session before then, so we're ready to meet up with them on the 14th?
No.
No?
Nope.
Did you direct them in a certain direction?
Wouldn't you like to know? The stories may find themselves woven together soon, and very soon.
Excellent.
But yes, that will be a game where everyone will be there. So.
Oh, so exciting.
Just apologies. It might be an hour until I can join. Yeah.
On the,
so whether
the 14th,
I don't know if it'll help to
Can you take a nap so we can have a later start time?
Wait, what?
Because I know that will break Lauren
Carolyn.
and Tristan's heart if they have to, sleep in a little bit.
Oh.
So it's Carolyn. Can you take a nap on the 14th so that we can go later and start later? I think we were going to do 3.
Like an hour later than that.
So I think originally we were going to do like a 3 to 6 on Saturday the 14th, which is I think 6 to 9 your time. So we're asking if we can do it 7 to 10 your time.
Okay.
Okay. Just so we don't want you to
Are you
pumpkin
sure?
out on us. So.
The Irish coffee, Carolyn!
No, that's the upper and downer at the same time. Bad idea.
Yes, but you will be fun.
Oh.